Eadweard Muybridge was an English photographer whose work had significant impact on media. He took the first steps into visual motion that is used all around us today. Originally named Edward James Muggeridge, Muybridge was born in Kingston upon Thames on April 9, 1830, to John and Susan Muggeridge. He immigrated to New York and was employed by the London Printing and Publishing Company in 1852. During the California Gold Rush, Muybridge moved west to San Francisco and opened a successful bookstore. But he wanted to do photography. So in 1860, he bought the best photographic equipment at the time and started doing landscape photography, which he used the fictitious name Helios for his work. Muybridge photographed Yosemite Valley and even went to Alaska to document the newly purchased land. He also photographed the Pacific railroads. Eadweard Muybridge's experiments with motion photography began in 1872, when Governor Leland Stanford hired him to photograph a moving horse. Stanford wanted to prove that at one point, all 4 feet were simultaneously off the ground. However, in 1874, the project was delayed because Muybridge was on trial for the murder of his wife's lover. As soon as Muybridge was acquitted, he went to Central America, where he photographed Mexico, Panama, and Guatemala. Once he returned to California, Muybridge made a panorama of San Francisco, using a camera with 20 by 24-inch plates and taking 16 perfectly sequential images. In 1877, Muybridge decided to give the moving horse project another try, but the first attempt was rejected because the photographs were retouched, which was common back then. So he repeated the project by setting up 12 cameras along a track with electrical wires attached to each of them. When Governor Stanford's racing mare, Sally Gardner, ran past a camera, it tripped the wire and caused the camera shutter to go off and take a picture. Once the images were developed, it was clear in one of the 12 frames that all 4 horses' hooves were indeed off the ground at the same time. This experiment was the beginning of Muybridge's many accomplishments with motion photography. Later, in 1879, Muybridge invented the zoopraxiscope, a machine that allowed him to project up to 200 single images on a screen. Muybridge gave his first presentation using this device in 1880 at the California School of Fine Arts, and thus he became the father of motion pictures. Muybridge accepted a commission from the University of Pennsylvania to continue his work. From then on, he produced over 100,000 photographs of human and animal motion, in which he used university students, zoo animals, and occasionally himself. 781 of Muybridge's photographs were published in a book with an extremely long title, which was eventually reduced to 2 volumes, Animals in Motion and The Human Figure in Motion. Eadweard Muybridge's work in motion photography greatly contributed to media and its growth. Although he was infatuated with nude pictures and possibly murdered someone, we can't ignore his importance to history and contribution to media.